Central is live with an all-new edition of Primetime for MKU Season 23 as Fire Hydrant hosts ZE for a Division 1 showdown. Alongside Shiba, leader of the Division 4 team Seoul, my name is Travis S1 and welcome to the cast. Shiba, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Look at us. New season, new budget, new casters. I mean, look at these graphics. I mean, budget, worked its pocket. It's going to be a great match. You're starting strong with one. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And we've got a great start of the year here with a fantastic Division 1 matchup at the beginning. I'm pretty excited for this match today. We've got two teams are really good. Shiba, why don't you go through and tell us who's in the lineups for today?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Fire Hydrant versus ZE. ZE has been a staple in D1 for a couple of seasons now, making it to playoffs last season. And Fire Hydrant notably made a case. It was originally seeded D2, but fought their way to play in D1 and has already won their first match versus XIV quite handily. ZE is currently 0-1, is looking to make that comeback. For Fire Hydrant, we got a couple of interesting names here, but I'll try and figure them out as we go through. So we've got ourselves Ewan, Isaiah, Tyler, Nato, Joel, and Royal, not in that particular order. And for ZE, we've got Autosoma, Berta, Gyarados, Season, Liam, I believe, is subbed out for Forex, and Shakira, otherwise known as Triss. So these are all known players. We've seen a lot of these on cast before. Nothing to expect. No fails. It's going to be a really strong match from both sides. So I'm really excited to see which team can take it in.
And today we are having a matchup in Conference A here between ZE and Fire Hydrant as shown on the screen here. And got a couple of interesting results from earlier that are worth mentioning. Shiba, we have Fire Hydrant beating XIV just by 26 earlier, and ZE losing to Bree by only 68. So we have what seems to be a pretty good matchup ready to go.
Yeah, in D1, it's always so close. So even if you're the first seed in D1 or the 8th seed in D1, it can go either way. We're looking to see a tight match here. Hopefully we want a race 12 finish, but you never know how momentum can swing. Looks like we're trying to get a stream up here. And there we are. We got everyone. We got 12 people in the room ready to start at any moment. We got Liam being right back. I think he's being subbed out, so we'll look to try and get a different POV for ZE coming up soon.
Excellent. And a couple of interesting team notes to start with, and maybe some stats that are quite fun for the viewers to know. ZE was incredible last season, but what was one of the most incredible things about ZE Shiba was they averaged only 493.4 points per war, but they went 6-1 and 3, and in close matches they are 2-1 and 2, meaning that if it's a close match, don't ever count ZE out. The last season really definitely showed that. As we have our track selection on board, we have Wario Stadium and New York Minute.
Yeah, we can definitely tell which team is hosting here. It looks like they may even have top 6 in the bag, so a Wario Stadium race could be... I mean, it could be promising, but we have seen lately with the meta switching to lower weight, you might have seen some bumping, but instead we're going straight to New York Minute. ZE hoping to get those shrooms in bottom spots to take that first cut and get straight into the front.
Absolutely, yeah. As we jump right into this. Race 1 of 12. This should be a fun match today.
Yeah, you see FH trying in top 6, so they're going to hope that they can get some shrooms, maybe in 4, 5, 6, and just try and hold on to that front presence, but the coins from ZE going to be really important here. Isaiah starting out strong with those MTs, trying to keep first, but it's probably not going to last all too long.
Going up there, which will gain a little bit of speed, as looks like we've got the other team taking up into first right away.
Yeah, Gyro and Shakira making absolutely no delays, already in top 2. Forex as well up there, top 3. It's just New York Minute, folks.
Yeah,
brilliant bomb there from Isaiah, trying to hold on, trying to keep everyone back, but he's read it out, and ZE takes the early front presence.
Absolutely, what a crazy ride. Those greens are quite close to Isaiah here in this point of view. grabbing a couple of coins there to speed themselves up, shrooming here to make. And
Yeah, but
what a
so
lag
Matters
fail.
absolutely not get back there. Right now, if you're Isaiah, you know, you gotta be thinking, like, do you want to be spending time in this 7th place, or do you want to maybe go back and look for a shock? I think a lot of the FH members are back there, maybe looking for the lightning bolt, but who knows if they're gonna be able to get it. It is up to chance now with the wave 6 meta change.
Absolutely. This seems like a pretty good pull, holding on to the star for a bit. Blue Shell out, going to take over that first breakaway over there by that Black Yoshi. As we start to see people are building up, shrooming up, usually we normally see some late shocks on this track. Potential for any team to pull one soon.
You would hope it would have come out by now, so it looks like it is going to be a good race for ZE's, provided nothing changed in the front. Season managed to squeak in on a 5th there by shrooming up at the end, had to use a star a little bit early as well. But no, actually, FH gets the top 2, must have had some wild action in the front. Looks like most of FH is going to be using Pink Yoshi, with Gyarados sneaking in there as well as a little spy. So that'll be good for us to note that the Pink Yoshis tend to be Fire Hydrant. But they're going to take a quick lead on race 1.
And now we see a Daisy Circuit pick, and that brings me to a really interesting question here, Shiba.
Yep.
With this is the first season in which we have every single track available in MKU. How does that shift the meta of what tracks teams are going to be picking now?
So I think that the original 88, I mean, or I say originally, the former 88, I think the ones that were popular then, still going to be popular now, but we're seeing some Wave 6 tracks making their way into rotation, especially for ZE. I know they love Daisy Circuit. It's a great track if you're behind first to get a shroom, take that staircase cut, and get some early front presence, which they are going to get. We also might see some Madrid here, which is I've seen very popular in the higher divisions.
Absolutely. ZE leads 42-40 after 1 as we go into Daisy Circuit. As again,
Also, even though it was a top 2 there for Fire Hydrant, it is going to be a +2 for ZE, holding on to those mid spots. And maybe extending their lead here with some early shrooms from Season and Co.
Inside Drift Bike burns out. We see a couple of cool mini turbos, because mini turbos are awesome, as we know in this game. Working their way.
No one from top 5 getting a shroom there, so it's going to be the bottom half of the pack that are going to really be capitalizing on this track. And as we can see, we see a couple of ZE members already taking in that front presence. Top 2-5, it looks like.
What a trail right there. And what? Stopping a little bit here to slow red as we
I think Season's probably thinking here, my team's top 2-4, I don't need to be up the front there, I can get better value, just stopping with this red, making sure all of those FH members that are holding shrooms aren't going anywhere, they're staying back here with me. You see Isaiah now holding up a star as well as his teammate, so maybe a shock could be coming in here. They're holding them, really hoping for the dodge to come through, try and make back up that front presence.
Starred and shroomed into those double boxes, pulled 4 shrooms here. As seeing some players going wide for those coins there, not particularly the most beneficial to go wide for the coins right around this boost panel section. You lose a lot of time, nearly about 2 seconds there. So getting the coins earlier in the track is significantly better than getting those coins on those boost panels.
Yeah, we have to assume it's Gyarados in first, with ZE potentially having top 4. Here comes the FH members finally, and there comes the shock. Here they come.
Going in, gonna be an interesting ending here for FH. That bomb just obliterated a ZE member right there, trying to avoid his own teammate right in front of him as Isaiah gets paying attention into the mid pack. We see a couple of stars. No box here for Isaiah, could be problematic. If anything, there is a blue. It takes out them, but it doesn't, because we see lag in this game.
Yeah, what a save there. ZE still getting that top 2, but that would have been an absolutely catastrophic race without it. ZE were holding on to those top spots with ease. Something FH was just managing to squeak out a little save there at the end.
Fantastic race. As per usual, we see a ZE win there by 6, and we are having a very close match today.
Yeah, this is what we love to see. Single-digit races could go to any team. I think both sides are now looking which track can they pick where they can get that big race, that big swing, and start getting the momentum going in their favor. But right now, ZE is holding on just barely to the lead after 2.
And something worth noting, especially at this high of a level for those players that are in more of those mid-div to lower div ranges, there's very, very few big races. And when you have a big race, it is a momentum shifter. And that can build confidence for the team going forward into future races in hopes that they can get more momentum and build into that and build
Yeah,
into the
absolutely.
success.
Yeah, definitely at the higher levels, you see teams planning for those worst case scenarios. So even though ZE was top 4, you could see that 2 of their members were back there, hunting out for the shock, getting dodge. You saw Shakira or Triss dodging right there in 5th. So, making sure they had some sort of backup plan. Early trail there for Isaiah even, as ZE tries to hold on to those top 2 spots. Looks like they're making top 3 now, even bigger front presence coming in. So this is a really good pick for them. Trying to trail, trying to get rid of anyone trying to stream up here on this metal section.
Excellent track here for top spots, as we know. Even with the changes in the meta, this track still holds well for top spots. Continuing on into this race, there's already a blue. That is a pretty early blue for this track. It's gonna take out.
Yeah, Shakira or Triss takes there, so only 1 now, 2 free for Fire Hydrant as they try and maybe break season out here. If they can make it into that top spot, then they should have a good time holding it because the blues already come. And I don't know if there's gonna be a second one.
That red is absolutely unfortunate. Yeah. And we see 2 players hiding kind of in the back there. They're starting to catch up a little bit. Potentially we're bagging for the shock. We could see some shock play if necessary here. Looks
like FH, Isaiah joining to get top 3 now, backing their items, making sure that ZE can't get up there. But Season with the Fire trying to make it a war.
And there's a second blue that's going to take out first.
ZE holding on 2 free here. Or free 4 rather. Isaiah manages to hold on to first. Hold on to the trail. It's looking to be something that might come out at the end of the race here. Yet there goes back. Will Gyarados be able to steal first here is the question. He has the Shroom. So can he make magic happen?
As it gets to a close ending.
No,
but it looks like Isaiah's going to hold it. It looks like that was almost a top 2 from
yeah, it looks like a really strong race for Fire Hydrant here. Let's have a look. Yep, top 3-5, no problem.
Top 3, 5 to 7. That is a big race here for Fire Hydrant. That puts ZE into a spot where they need a big race to counter.
Yeah, that was a big statement there from Fire Hydrant saying, we don't care if you get the track picks, we're gonna get the top spots on them anyways. Big confidence boost for their players as they try and carry that momentum into another running track here, Hyrule Circuit.
And then we see Trainbow, pretty known drafter still today. Really, really good for those bottom spots and trying to make some momentum shift. And we have been seeing some new strats, especially on that track. So really interesting to see if Fire Hydrant pulls any of those new strats off.
Yeah, if you're a newer player to the competitive scene, you might be wondering where's the Cheese Land, where's the Dry Desert. But you'll start to see in the higher divisions, they don't want to go for those luck tracks. They don't want to leave it up to chance. They don't want to leave it up to shocks. They'll rather pick these tracks like Trainbow or N64 Rainbow Road, where coins matter and they can draft up and then not have to worry about getting dodges or getting a shock late into the race.
Fire Hydrant leads 136 to 110 after 3. And here, taking the left rubies is Isaiah. And
going to trick there off the ramp. Really good strategy there to keep first. Gives you the advantage.
And getting the rubies up early.
Yeah, ZE makes it into second. Tries to sort of get up there as soon as possible. Don't let FH run away with it.
We see a couple of those red Yoshis in the back. Pretty sure that is ZE that's in the back already, but we'll see what they can do to pull this out.
Yeah, we're seeing a couple members here straight for the shock. End of lap 1. see if they can get it. Looks like FH is also back here, so it's not a complete wipe. Will this Bill get held, or will Season try and chain it early for a shot? It looks like not, so it looks like Berta is taking the role of shock bagger here for ZE. Bagging means going back intentionally, try to get those powerful items, the shock notably, to try and turn a race around.
A good front run going here by Isaiah, continuing to just have a dominant front presence so far in this edition of Primetime.
Yeah, if there's one thing we can expect from an Isaiah POV, it's gonna be that front presence, those really strong, consistent lines. Season getting punished right back here, no chance to hold those powerful items. He is going for 2 boxes here, doesn't pull the shock again, so he's gonna try and salvage maybe a single-digit spot here alongside Royal. But the blue shell comes out. Will it be? I think it might be a little bit too late there as it has to go around the cut. So it looks like we're going to have a shockless high roll circuit here, and ZE's going to have to try and get as many spots other than first as they can.
And the
final
late
second shock. Final lap 4 shock there. Not going to do very much though to the spot. Yeah, an FH, my word, top 4-6. You can't really ask for better than that.
Race.
And right now, yeah, if you're ZE, you're worried because this is now beginning to be a bit of a swing here. Fire Hydrant takes many points now, gets at least a 1 race lead now, so ZE's gonna need not only 1 good race, but now 2 if they want to try and make it even. Plus 54 for FH now.
A big race there, getting 28 points there. We see Sunshine Airport and a Waluigi Stadium on board.
Yeah, Waluigi Stadium, I think, is if you know ZE, you're gonna be thinking of Waluigi Stadium. I know Gyarados loves that track, has made it a staple, and it's a really good track as well if you're in those bottom spots because those coins are so hard to come by. FH going for a bit of a rarer pick in Sunshine Airport. We don't see this too often anymore, mainly because that cut at the start of lap 1 is quite powerful, so you do have the risk of your team not pulling the shrooms and the enemy team, in this case ZE, getting those shrooms and easily breaking that top spots.
After 1 GP, we have Fire Hydrant up 191 to ZE's 137. And let's see how they play on Sunshine Airport. And yeah, I have personally, from my experience, Shiba, I have not seen a ton of Sunshine Airport of late. So really interesting track pick to see. That protection pull right away is really good. They try to go for the snipe, but they just don't get the smart bounce to result from it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is maybe a comfort pick. We'll see if ZE are able to break in. Yeah, you see Soma immediately taking advantage of those shrooms. And I don't think this worked out as well as FH thought it might, because ZE is suddenly looking at maybe 2-3-4 here. Isaiah's going to have to now fight off the enemy team if he wants to keep his first. But he gets a horn, so I mean that'll help for sure.
Looks like we have ZE in a couple of bottom spots right now. Here's Season here with a couple of shrooms. Fire going up. And our perspectives are now in top 2. And looks like Fire Hydra is stuck in the back a little bit. We see a player down back there bagging a bit. Couple of players lower on that mini-map.
Yeah, you see, it looks like it's even in the front. You have 1-3 for FH, 2-4 for ZE. I don't know if they probably don't know that Isaiah's holding the horn here, so they may just be going to try and get the blue out. So that may be why they may be a bit of peace here, but certainly if you are ZE, you want to make sure that Isaiah does not have that horn for when this blue shell comes. But
and there's a blue.
But now Isaiah's left defenseless, only a coin in first, and that gets stolen too, so this might be 2 boxes that first place has to go through while having no protection. Can Berta capitalize on that, or will Isaiah manage to hold off? And he does
off the
trail.
Glider.
Yeah,
wow.
Berta is out of there.
And ZE like that takes top
never
2.
mind. Hold on, I think we may have got that wrong. It looks like Berta was the one that trailed Isaiah out. And just managed to keep top 2 here. Season extending his glider there, really good strategy for keeping your speed, because you do move at the same speed, even if you're shocked on the glider. and they do manage to get that top 2. Really good comeback there from ZE.
An excellent race. Looks like Fire Hydrant still pulled off some pretty good spots here, but ZE definitely taking that top 2. 27 points, even in a 6v6, is a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely not the sort of race that they maybe wanted, but it's definitely the start to what could be a good comeback for ZE. We know that from last season, as you said earlier in the cast, they managed to get these clutch wins by less than 10 points time and time again. So, you know, if you're Fire Hydrant, you're not laying back right now. You're keeping your foot on the pedal and trying to get away and make sure that ZE can't do an upset once again.
That was a 14-point race in favor of ZE. 48-34 was the points for those who are keeping score along with us. The score is 225 to 185 after 5. And now we're seeing a Moonview Highway. This is a very strong runner in this game. Not a lot of shortcuts. Unfortunately for ZE, it is going to go to Twisted Mansion, which is a track that's really interesting after quite a bit, which is a track that's changed quite a bit over time, especially with the booster course pass and some of the meta changes that have happened. We see this track now moving from what was originally a track for a lot more lower spots to more of the middle spots now because of not being able to shock the opposing team off of the glider, a Wave 3 change that happened not too long ago, almost a year ago
yeah,
now.
we see a prime example there of Season cheating and pulling a Shroom in second place, showing that this track isn't too shabby for those mid spots. Even ZE, they were in 5-6 at the start, so maybe they may have been. Yeah, you see Soma coming up here. You know, not a terrible race for ZE starting off here. It looks like they've got top 3 FH behind them. With double protection in first as well, so hopefully... Oh no, but
Ooh.
Looks like it's all over that horn there. Absolutely ruins ZE's front presence, and they're going to have to take another plan if they want to get back up there.
Isaiah here, they still have top 2, but it's a lot less of a front presence than they had earlier. Isaiah here in third, holding 2 greens, has a lot of power on this board right now. ZE's making themselves right back up, holds another set of triple greens. That plant
it's all
ghost.
chaos. Yeah, absolute chaos there in the pack. Plant coming in. This is your typical mid-pack rumble with the plants and the triple greens and the red shells. Isaiah opting to slow down here a little bit, perhaps hinting that maybe FH could have shock here, or they suspect that ZE has one of their own. Maybe going for that star in 9th place.
And that seems to look like a shock that was right there.
Yeah, yep. There it comes. Season dodges. In a really good position here. If he pulls a Shroom, which he does, 3 of them in fact, he's going to be able to get right up to the front as long as he doesn't get absolutely spammed out by the FH members trying to stop him from capitalizing on the dodge. Still 4-5 here for ZE. Looks like FH is still holding on to those top spots, backing out Soma with a shell. So ZE is looking to now maybe make a last-second comeback to the front.
A second push triple Shrooms, that's a good pull here for Season. Uses the Shrooms to hit FH out with the Nanas, and he's going to get a nice 4th. It looks like 2-3-4 right there.
Oh, top 6. Yeah, that's exactly what I needed. Bottom 4 as well for FH. This is the comeback that we like to see on the cast. So that's going to bring it now. Now all of a sudden, FH, who were 2 races ago up 54, looking real high and mighty, are now suddenly in a position where ZE in one race could be right back on their tail, or even in the lead.
That was a 34-point race there for ZE. That negates the 3rd race that we saw here, in which Fire Hydrant got 34 points. They go with Paris, a pretty hard runner here. Only a difference of 6 now at the halfway point. 249 to 243 with Fire Hydrant in the lead. And again, we see the Trainbow pick for the lower spots.
Yeah, one thing you're probably not seeing here is, huge credit to ZE here, being down 56 and managing to keep that mental composed, keeping themselves concentrated and making that comeback. And now they're back in at -6 is absolutely nothing at this stage of the scrim.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic job by ZE here. Just obviously keeping that composure. and now with a chance to bring the lead back to them. As we go on to a really good track for ZE. I'm betting the FH here is hoping, because there are potential for drafts on this track, to maybe draft up into those top spots early.
Yeah, ZE's got to be careful their top 4. They don't want to bump each other out, especially with Soma on the Yoshi bike, I believe, or known as Farex on the Yoshi bike. You know, they often love this track because they can hit those tight lines, so got to not bump each other out on the start here. Season opting the wide, slower path to maybe get some better items, which he doesn't. He has 4 shrooms here, and he's in the mid pack, so he's got to be careful around Royal here. He's making easy work of the ZE members with those triple greens.
Here we are. There seems to be a player pretty far behind. Potentially could be fishing for the shock. The bill is catching up quite a bit.
Yeah, looks like a pink Yoshi, so it may be Gyarados, it may be one of the FH members. It looks like maybe ZE managed to keep their front presence. Season somehow back in first place, avoiding all the chaos that's going on. Does dodge this red with a quick green pull, but now he's left in the open. FH might be able to aggress him out, especially since he only gets a single at this next box.
This bomb here could do a lot of damage if used properly.
Yeah, I love this from Isaiah, going on the glider to get a better vantage point. Doesn't manage to hit Season, but does enough of a distraction so that Ewan here with the star can get into first with those shrooms. This is a really strong position for FH, and now ZE has to wonder, is that Gyarados in the back holding a shock to bail them out? There it is.
we have a shock.
Ewan dropping some shrooms for his teammates. They're gonna try and squeeze past the line, but will ZE manage to just shroom here at the end? Yep, you see Soma coming in first place. It might not have been a game-changing shock, but it was just enough to stop what looked to be a top 4 for FH, now suddenly turned into only a 2-free.
A bottom 4 here for FH. The momentum has definitely shifted to ZE in the last few races. Keeping that composure and building that momentum, putting them in a very favorable spot right now. An 18-point race there for ZE, as they are now up 12 on Fire Hydrant.
Yeah, if you're FH, you hate to see a race like that. It looked like they had everything they wanted. They had shrooms in first. They had all the front presence. But it wasn't unearned. You saw Gyarados spending at least 2 laps there trying to get that shock, and it paid off in dividends. So again, ZE managing to not only turn the race back, but now they have a 12-point lead, and suddenly FH is on the back foot.
Now the momentum needs to shift if FH wants to pick it back up. We see another Waluigi Stadium pick here and a Trainbow pick.
Now I am personally rooting for that one shy guy, Sunset Wilds, over there in the top row, but we're not gonna see it today. Instead, we're gonna go to a ZE Classic here from Wave 4, Waluigi Stadium.
Waluigi Stadium, a rather technical track that came out of Wave 4 too. This one is rather challenging for a lot of different reasons. There's quite a bit of tips and tricks that we'll be seeing in this cast here. Definitely one of the harder tracks that we have now with the addition of the Booster Course Pass.
Yeah, we're already seeing that MT trick off of the first ramps. Isaiah is not playing around here. Immediately says, you know what, give me that first back. I'll take it from here. But ZE looks like they picked this because they were everything behind that 2 free from FH. They're going to be looking to get those shrooms and immediately try and push to the front. I maybe don't agree with the Waluigi Stadium pick because FH was in bottom 4, so they're getting all those 4 and 5 coin starts. And as you can see, they've managed to use that to their advantage, immediately bushing to the front.
It looks like FH was 1-3 just a few moments ago, maybe even 1-3-4 according to the mini map. A lot of lower spots as well for ZE at this time. Excuse me, 1-2, at least top 3.
Yeah, Isaiah pulls the shroom here. Interesting to see whether they opt for the cut or whether they're just going to hold it in case of a blue shell. They're opting for the cut instead. Probably a little bit too far away from first there, who's probably hogging all of the coins. There are very few on this map, so it's very punishing if you get hit out. Notably, though, you will notice if you play this track, you see here, you sometimes get these really broken items around these half-pipe sections, so maybe ZE is looking to take advantage of that, get the shock, and make a bailout again like they did with Paris Promenade.
Like both teams are currently holding dodges, both in what their favor are. There is a shock.
Yeah, there it comes really early. Looks like a ZE shock, perfectly timed there from Season, and caught a lot of those FH members unaware they were holding their stars.
Good call to get them to not be in those dodges there. We see Season here getting a couple of boxes. Plant comes out immediately.
Yeah, and suddenly this race is looking very nice for ZE. They get 3-4, maybe FH in the top 2 there.
That green pull is a bit unfortunate. Looks like hitting one of their own members, but happens. Like, those are moments that you can't avoid, and you're so close to each other.
Yeah, and number 1-3-4 there. Really great shock there from ZE.
Absolutely.
I think maybe FH were expecting it a little bit later, maybe at the cut or with the bill extension. But ZE said, no, we gotta get it out now and make sure they're not on those boost panels so they can keep their speed while small.
10-point race for ZE, now up 22 on Fire Hydrant. We see 3DS Rainbow, a track that, quite frankly, Shiba, I'm surprised isn't picked more.
I think it can be a really popular track. I think definitely it's a track that first picks for themselves because you can easily keep that front presence with those MTs at the start. There is the risk, especially that first spiral turn. We've all been knocked off by someone falling off the map on our screen and then teleporting straight back on and staying stationary. So it may be a risk if you're in top spots. You know, you don't want to accidentally hit one of your teammates off the map. We see Squeaky Clean Sprint and Kuba Cape coming in from FH. Interesting to see Squeaky Clean come out though, because that is, as far as I'm aware, a pretty strong frontrunner with no real cuts outside of this lap 1.
Yeah, interesting pick here. Maybe the thought is to outline potentially, or maybe even pull some shrooms for the ending of the lap 1 cut, but definitely favors the front more than it favors those in the mids. Here we are.
We'll see how right we are as the race starts up. Will the front spots be able to keep their presence, or will people in the back with more coins and manage to squeeze in to those top 3 spots? We see Season not able to hold that shroom for the end of the lap. So unfortunately gonna have to sit back and maybe reconsider his options, go for some coins, try and get some better items.
Going for the half pipe to get some of those items and some of those coins.
Yeah, we do see Triss has managed to keep that first place, that red birder there in the front. And even through the cut, you can see he's not falling. So yeah, it looks like ZE is managing to hold on to those front spots. As well as 4, 5, 6 it seems. Yep, top 2 here for ZE. Isaiah holding that red sneakily behind him. Maybe trying to catch an opportunity to throw it, but he's wiggling a little bit here. Oh, beautiful shortcut there without the shroom.
We definitely see a pink Yoshi in the back, probably going for the shock here. Potentially.
Yeah, Gyro in the front, so that is FH there going for the shock. Good work on Isaiah here, avoiding the triple greens from Farex. Holding on for dear life, surrounded by ZE. It's a horrible situation to be in. But he has to hold on to that second, otherwise his team is in a really precarious situation.
FH seems to be quite a bit in the back here. There is the
shock. We know a ghost from somewhere has dodged. Yep, here comes Royal zooming up in a star. There's the ghost as well. So this is looking like a really good turnaround from Fire Hydrant. Oh, Season finding one gap in the track to fall down. And yeah, this is looking like an absolute 180 of Paris 2 races ago. FH, great comeback here.
A good shock pull, and taking out the guy with, looks like that took out the guy with triple reds right there, and able to pull out that fourth, at least to hold that 2-3 from ZE, but the bottom two.
Yeah, given that ZE was looking, it would look like it was 1-3-4-5 going into lap 3. We cannot complain if you're FH about 1-4 there. Really good shock there and really needed. You can definitely see in these casts that even at Division 1, the shock is so powerful and definitely needed because these D1 players know how to hold on to that front presence and know how to like capitalize on those early race moments to seal a top 2, top 3. And if you don't get that shock, there's no way of getting it back.
Plus 10 race there for Fire Hydrant. And now Fire Hydrant is just within 12 of ZE after 9. 375 to 363.
Yeah, we see Fire Hydrant going for the Daisy Cruiser here, not getting it for their first place. Instead, we see Koopa Cape, a track that I love very much. Really important here is to get those shrooms in the lower spots. Hold them for not the first cut, but for the second bigger cut, about halfway through the race. So
And
we'll see how many can pick it up.
a really important track here to pull shrooms on, because that set that you see right in front of you is the only guaranteed. If you do otherwise, you have to go wide. Very important to know. If you that shroom pull right there puts you at a pretty big advantage on this
Yeah,
track.
that's so important from Isaiah there, copying Season on Twisted Mansion. So we'll see straight into first here. This shortcut saves so much time. It's really great to get into that early top spot. And these two boxes here that just are lined up perfectly to get you some protection. The bomb in first here trails tells us that ZE is close behind. And it could be some damage here in the tunnel if Isaiah chooses to use it.
We definitely see that right here. Several ZE members right next to each other. Going for it all. There is catch-up potential.
Yeah, 2-3-4 here. Isaiah's smart not to back this bomb so early. The red comes in from Season on the back of his fallen teammate. Isaiah is taken out there. Unfortunately, had nothing behind the bomb. So now the tables have turned, and now Season's in first place with the bomb. His teammate Forex is in second place. I know that maybe Triss, in fact.
See a couple players in the back looking like maybe trying to fish for it. ZE top 2. ZE top 3, actually.
Yeah, this is a great track pick from ZE here. Immediately able to get into all those front spots. And it looks like the pack is pretty tight. It doesn't look like anyone is really committing to the shock, but as you said, there's only one set that you can really stop and try and get it. So really difficult situation here for FH.
Isaiah billing up right here.
Yeah, Bill collecting some of the few coins on the track here. Was looking to take the cut, but Gyarados is there to catch him as he falls.
Holding this last red here.
Yeah, we see Triss is absolutely gone in first. FH is trying to play the catch-up game here, but Isaiah's getting removed from the pack. It's sent to 12th. Looks like there's not going to be much wiggle room there.
And
like
this,
yeah, ZE is absolutely knocked out of the park here.
What a good track pick right there by ZE.
FH managed to salvage.
FH middles though.
Yeah, only top 2, so it looks like maybe those stars did some more damage. It's great to see that, though. It's great to see at this highest level in D1 that you can still salvage some races at the end with some good item management, holding those stars until lap 3, and managing to get those sort of mid spots, so turning what could be a catastrophic top 4 into maybe only a top 2 and a couple of extra mid spots.
And what was easily looking to be a great race for ZE, Fire Hydrant manages to only make it +6 for ZE, and now ZE only up by 18.
Yeah, Fire Hydrant definitely got ZE on a leash there. Kept them at arm's distance. Make sure they can strike back on these last couple of races. Looks like we have 2 races to go. We see a Pinball and a Cove, 2 very special tracks. You know, these are like fan favorites for very polarizing people. I know that HD is another D1 team that loves to play Waluigi Pinball, but we don't see it too often from other teams.
And instead we see Piranha Plant Cove, which maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong here, Shiba. This is either the most technical track in the game or one of the top 5 most technical tracks in the game. The challenge of this track is very, very difficult.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This track, especially at the highest level, it is so difficult to race well. And it really tests you because a lot of other technical tracks, they're above land, so you're used to driving them, but this track, it's all underwater. So this Primetime Cove tests, can you drive well while you have lower traction? We see Season keeping the first place here. I'm interested to see if anyone in this room is going to go for the big shortcut with a shroom after this glider. And it looks like we're not going to get any POVs of it. We're going to get a top 2 fight here. Isaiah says, get back out there. Interested to see if Season can get a snipe off here with that banana. Chooses not to. But Isaiah takes early front presence, and we'll see if he's able to keep that if anyone takes the shortcut. Yet we see 2 people here. One from FH manages to break up into the front. For those who don't know, you can use a shroom on that ramp there to immediately get over that rock, and it saves about 3 seconds if done perfectly. So absolutely changes the race if you can do it. But it's risky, because if you fail it, you're going to lose a lot of time to send back to last.
It looks like from the mini-map, ZE is definitely in some trouble here, as we can see 6, 7, and a few bottom spots right now. Looking to pull that shock. There was a shock.
Yeah, unsure who really benefited from that. It looks like Royal is coming in with a star. Second time we see him blaze to the front in a star dodge. So this could be either a Z shock gone wrong, or maybe FH already having that front presence and said, you know what, we're going to use this shock nice and early, stop ZE from getting one of their own, try and just get the best race possible, stop ZE from making that typical lap 3 comeback. But we see a Ghost, we see a Bill, everyone. This will be a crazy last lap here. Let's see if it's like ZE is in the back, FH holding onto those front spots, and a bomb to send Season to the grave.
And that looks to be a pretty rough race there for ZE. The tides have definitely, or the tides have changed, or as some of us say, the turns have tabled. There's a bottom 3 there from ZE, and that makes a very close match after 11.
Yeah, top 3-5 there for FH, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be neck and neck now from both teams coming into race 12. So you can forget the first 11 races ever happened. We're going for a 1-race showdown.
Plus 26 there from Fire Hydrant. They're up 8 going into race 12. In a race 12 scenario, when it's this close, how as a leader would you go and pick these? How would you pick these tracks? Do you pick the track that you're most comfortable in, or would you pick a track in which you know is best for your spots?
I think you gotta be sent. Obviously, if your best track is a bagging track, then maybe it's not the best track to pick if you're in front spots, but absolutely you want to go for the comfort picks here. You see GC and DK Mountain coming in from ZE, so I think that's exactly what they're doing. I'm not sure about DK Mountain here in a 6v6 scenario, because you do have this cannon, so it extends the distance from a first place from the rest of the pack, meaning that you get a few more shocks and stars coming out. But will that be exactly what ZE needs to save this match on race 12?
We will find out here on a pretty new track, of course. Here we go. Right away, seeing a shroom being held, that draft on that corner is pretty nice. Be interesting to see if anybody goes. A couple people do go for that shortcut right there.
Yeah, another wave 6, really technical wave here. So this track, you do have the no item shortcut coming up from Mario Kart Wii. Should be no problem for this room. Yep, actually no one has any issues there. So it looks like ZE manages to get into first, but FH is right behind.
Right behind in 2 green.
And being aggressive as well with the greens, trying to make sure that they can secure these top spots.
There's the blue. That will probably not be the only blue of this race. It looks like the blue.
Interesting. I was gonna say interesting to see who that blue went for. We saw the item position, these positions changing quite a lot there in the cannon. Shot coming in looks really bad for Fire Hydrant here as they're all after set and fire is thrown up. Yep, Season coming in with the triple star intent. Choosing to chain it once again, maybe going for a bill here.
And
Second
there's a
shot,
second
yeah,
shot.
second shot comes out. So this could be really strong for ZE. Looks like one of FH dodged, but yeah, ZE is top, is 2-3-4, potentially even first here.
This is looking real favorable to ZE, but it is not over. There's still a cannon set.
Yeah, importantly though, these shocks came at the end of lap 2, so it's going to be 30 seconds before FH can even retaliate with a shock of their own. So maybe not even this set coming up here. We'll have to see what can be done to salvage this race. We see 2-3-4 here from ZE. Not quite sure who's in first here. It might be FH holding on. See if we can try and get the name to appear, but it looks not. I think we are going to see this is looking really good for ZE here. It looks like they may have clutched it out at the last second. Yeah, last second shock there. It's probably as early as they could pull it FH, but it's not going to be enough, I'm afraid. Yeah, top three. Perfect comeback from ZE. Looks like they may have just snuck in the win on race 12. Really well played from both sides.
An excellent war from both teams here. And as we talked about earlier, ZE coming in clutch per usual. That is a 22-point win or 22-point win on the last race for ZE to win it 499 to 485. A win by 14 Shiba. And
yeah, talk about branding. I mean, ZE known for those last race comebacks, and once again we see it. If it's going to be a first cast, this is the one to go for. What a great war back and forth from both teams. Really well played from all 12 players involved. Couldn't have asked for a better war.
And a better war to start not only the new year, but the new season of Primetime. Shiba,
Yeah.
as per usual, it was awesome.
It was lovely. It was a really great match. Lovely time here. ZE probably really happy there, getting a 1-1 finish after that first loss, and unfortunately for Fire Hydrant, they weren't able to go 2-0. But that's just how it goes. Is 8 more matches of the preseason for these teams to see if they can clutch out a playoffs spot.
And an excellent start to the season. Again, Shiba, was great casting with you today. What a great matchup that we had from all of us here at Mario Kart Central. Co-caster Shiba, my name is Travis S1. Thank you all for tuning in today.
Take care and have a lovely weekend, everyone.
And we will see you in the next one.